Well, hello, sports fans, and welcome to the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast. I am your host, Charles Taylor, and I am writing solo for this one. Patrick will be with me next week. Actually, there was a little miscommunication on my part for why we weren't able to do one together. I was knocked out sleep. I didn't see he was ready to do the webcast, so it was totally my bad on that. But Patrick say he'll be good to do a shorty this week, so you will see him, just not today. Yeah, and it's my fault. So, I say he'll be back later on with a shorty of his own, and then we'll be back on schedule for next week's webcast. Uh, but for today, we have a few topics we want to get out here, or I guess I'll be able to get out here and discuss. And starting with the coronavirus reaction. So this is the first of I think four or five topics that I have. But with the coronavirus reaction, so as you're seeing, a lot of the not networks, but a lot of the corporations, a lot of the various sports leagues are monitoring the situation as it pertains to the coronavirus. And we actually had a school, Chicago State, canceled trips for their men's and women's basketball team, or at least canceled games for their men's and women's basketball team out of precautions. They wanted to make sure that their players are safe and people in the community is safe. So I get it. And when I say what I'm about to say here, I don't want to sound insensitive when I'm saying this, but I think there is a lot of panic that is going on because of what we're seeing on the news and on some of the other channels as it pertains to coronavirus. Uh, a lot of people have lost their lives because of it. But I think if you just do the stuff you're supposed to do. Just be health conscious. If you wash your hands, if you keep things kind of disinfected, yeah, or use wipes to disinfect the air around you, and just some of the normal everyday hygiene things, we will be okay. I think there is a lot of people who are kind of, I mean, for the lack of a better term, losing their minds because of what's happening. And uh, look, this isn't nothing to play with. No one wants to catch any viruses. Nobody wants to be sick, and I get it. But we can, we'll be okay if we just do the normal things we're supposed to do. And like I said, the main thing is to wash your hands. Uh, just be conscious of the air around you, and don't go sneezing on people or anything like that. Just be conscious of what you do day to day to have good personal hygiene. And I think we'll be okay. I've been hearing a lot of different things as far as players uh, talking about using their own pens to sign autographs or not doing autograph sessions because of it. I just feel like it. Look, the air. What's in the air is what's going to be in the air. There's a lot of particles. I mean, you have allergens. You have all kinds of crazy stuff. Uh, Pollution. You have all kinds of crazy stuff that is in the air. So, I mean, I think as long as we just do the stuff that we're supposed to do, just be health conscious, we will be fine. I understand why people are panicking, but I don't think it should get to the point where people are just kind of losing their minds. Let's just be health conscious, and I think we'll be okay. I was watching something with the doctor, that one of the doctors was talking, and they said, look, the coronavirus, it can be a potent virus, obviously, but it can't go anywhere unless we help it go somewhere. So, again, wash your hands, don't touch your face. That's another thing. And I don't want to sound like I'm a doctor or anything, but it's it's just let's just be health conscious. I think we will be okay. I don't think it should get to the point where we're canceling trips or we're having to uh, change schedules up because of it. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's in the air, viruses going around every day. But as long as we're health conscious, we'll make it through. So hopefully we can start to kind of calm down with everything and help get back to normal. Hopefully, the people who are supposed to be quarantined and the people who are in charge of helping get this thing under control, let them do their jobs, and we'll be okay. We'll make it through. We'll be fine. So, with that, let's move on to the Tony Romo deal. Now, as pretty much everybody knows by now, Tony Romo signed a deal with CBS or to stay at CBS for approximately 17 million per year. By far, that is the highest a commentator or analyst is going to make in history. Now, here's how I feel about Tony Romo. I feel like he's very good at his job. I feel like actually he's been better than I thought he would when he originally got the job. I remember saying on a few occasions, once he got that position to replace Phil Sims as the lead analyst next to Jim Nance, I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was when he was playing quarterback, or as good as he is, excuse me. When he was playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, he really didn't it didn't seem like he talked a whole lot, and I really didn't see the personality it would take for you to do a job like be a lead analyst. But once he's gotten up there, he has been beyond any of my expectations. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he's revolutionized the game in sports entertainment like some of these other people are saying, and I never felt that way. But he's really good at the job. I will give him that. Um, so now, I mean, CBS, they put this deal out there, and ESPN was rumored to pretty much back up the bread truck for him in order to get him on their team for Monday Night Football. But CBS cut that off at the pass. And personally, I didn't see him leaving CBS anyway. A lot of people were saying ESPN was going to bring a whole bunch of money. And I'm thinking if CBS signed him for 17 million per year, I'm thinking ESPN was probably going to drop about 20 per year. I feel like they were willing to do that if they were going to get Tony Romo to come to the team on Monday Night Football. But I didn't think money was a huge factor in this, just simply because I think for Romo, he has money. He played quarterback for the Cowboys, and he was getting paid pretty well anyway to do this job before he signed the extension to stay at CBS. I don't think money was a huge factor. I think it was more about the relationship with Jim Nance and Romo liking the people he was working with. And of course, Jim Nance being the chief one out of that. So because of that relationship, I didn't really see him going anywhere anyway. As far as is this deal too much? I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, you're making 70 million a year to commentate games. It does seem a bit much. But I guess that's what happens when you are pretty good at your job and you're a sought after commodity. People are going to pay to try to keep you on the team or to get you to come to their team. Now, again, I don't think Romo is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't think he is the best person ever to touch a microphone. I never really felt that way about him. I understand he's good at predicting plays and pretty much uh, seeing what a team is going to do before they go ahead and do that. There has been some times where he's been wrong too. So let's not act like he's perfect and he doesn't make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But hey, good on Romo for being able to get this deal. Good on CBS for being able to keep him there for the foreseeable future. So everybody is happy. Let's keep it going. Just keep it moving. I know there's been a lot of people who are upset. I've heard a few NFL players get loose on their Twitter handles or Instagram handles or whatever it is, saying, "Well, if he's making that much money, then how come the players can't make that much money for playing? Well, yes, the contract with Romo really has nothing to do with the NFL. This is the stations working and them trying to make sure they're locked in. Those are two completely different things. But again, Romo, good on him. I think he's a good commentator or analyst. Now, as far as how people feel about him doing the job, I don't like to me, eh, I don't necessarily watch the game to hear the analysts talk. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of entertainment value with that. There are some other good ones. I feel like Trey Aikman and Fox is pretty good. A lot of people don't like Chris Collingsworth at NBC, but I think he's pretty good as well. And ESPN, yeah, I mean, you got Booker McFarland, and Booker McFarland can be a little off sometimes. But I don't necessarily watch the game to do the analysis or to listen to their analysis. Like I said, there's a little bit of good entertainment value, but I feel like I can do my own analysis. Not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but I feel like I can do my own analysis. I feel like I can do a good job of breaking down a play when it happens. Uh, so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, whatever. If they want to pay him, cool. Again, I acknowledge that he's pretty good, but man, I wish I could get 17 million per year. I tell you that. So let's move on to the next topic we have, which this is an NBA topic. So we're kind of jumping around a lot, but here, this is a topic about the Milwaukee Bucks. So the Milwaukee Bucks going into Wednesday's game against the Indiana Pacers have a 52-9 record, best in the NBA. Now, a lot of people are surprised by this. A lot of people are wondering where this team came from. But I mean, if you recall, last year this team was 60-22. This isn't nothing new. This is a good team they have, led by the reigning MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's some other good players on the team. I know Antetokounmpo is the one who gets the props, but they have Chris Middleton. Uh, Eric Bledsoe's been pretty good. I mean, Brooke Lopez is good, and Dante DiVincenzo. I don't know if I said that right. Coming off the bench. I mean, they have some good players on the team. But one thing you wonder about Milwaukee going forward is, can they hit enough shots and can they get Giannis enough help to push on through to at least the NBA Finals, if not win the NBA Finals? As it was last year, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals and jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Toronto Raptors before the Raptors were able to win 4 games in a row to get to the NBA Finals. Now, uh, a lot of people now I've heard a lot of panic because they lost the other night. They lost Monday night to the Miami Heat, and Miami looked pretty good in beating them. They beat them 105-89. And a lot of people are now wondering, oh my gosh, what's going on with Milwaukee? Oh, it's called the rigors of an NBA season. They're not going to win every game. So there's no reason for any type of mass hysteria to go on here because everybody loses a game every now and again, or people complaining when the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies the other night. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. And they got beat pretty much by the same score. It was 105-88. So teams are going to have stretches where they lose a game or two. It's an 82 game season. For Milwaukee to be as good as they are right now, that is doing something, and that is saying a lot about the consistency they come out and play with. And you have to give them credit for being able to put long streaks together through the course of an NBA season. So we'll see how they do Wednesday against the Pacers. I'm pretty much saying they're going to beat the Pacers tonight, but they might not. And if they don't, okay, then what? They dropped to 52-10. They're still okay, people. No reason to complain. No reason to panic after a loss or two. It is a long season, and especially coming into March, these are kind of the dog days where teams start to kind of tire out a little bit, trying to it's that area where you've had a long season and then you have to start kind of ramping up for your playoff run. So if losses occurred, this would be the time where a few losses would occur. Late March, early April, now you're starting to peak again, starting to get yourself ready for the playoffs. So it's okay if Milwaukee loses a game. Just let's calm down. Couldn't believe I was watching a lot of these shows with the talking heads trying to debate. Oh, is there a sign? Is there a sign that Milwaukee's starting to crumble a little bit after the loss? Give me a break, people. I get we have to fill some content, but come on, nothing to worry about here. I think this is a one-off loss. Miami was very good. How about giving Miami some credit for beating them? Miami has a good team there, and don't be surprised if they're able to make some noise in the Eastern Conference playoffs themselves. The Milwaukee, not worried about them though. They're fine. They will be okay. Going to be the number one seed in the East. Probably going to have the best record in the NBA. And then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Can they get past the Eastern Conference Finals this year? Personally, I think they will because Kawhi Leonard went to the Western Conference. So since he went to the Western Conference, and Toronto doesn't have them on their team anymore. I think I think Milwaukee will be okay. I don't see anybody in the East really challenging them. We'll see what Boston can do. I give Boston a good shot just simply because they have the shooters that you would probably need to beat Milwaukee because they're not going to give up a whole bunch inside with the height they have. So a lot of people want to see what Toronto can do also. I don't know if Toronto has enough firepower. Miami, as we mentioned, is very interesting. And a lot of people were talking about Philadelphia. Nah, man, Philadelphia ain't doing nothing. They have a bad coach, bad chemistry, and their two marquee players can't stay healthy. They're always either hurt or inconsistent. So Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I'm talking about. So those guys are still out right now. I don't see Philly being a threat at all, at all. So Milwaukee will be okay. Next, let's go to the NFL and let's talk about the Washington Redskins because the Redskins are in the news for being okay. So they have the number 2 pick in next month's upcoming NFL draft, and just like with anything else, there's a lot of smoke screens, a lot of speculation, a lot of people trying to push out these crazy, making no sense narratives about what they're going to do with the pick. So the main thing with the Redskins is they are rumored to maybe draft quarterback Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama with this second pick. And they already have Dwayne Haskins. They drafted him last year. Personally, I don't see them drafting Tua. I don't see them drafting another quarterback. If they did, this would be another Redskins drafting disaster where they're trying to just, I don't know, load up on quarterbacks. I don't understand why you're trying to load up on quarterbacks, especially when the quarterbacks throughout the league and the people who are coming out from college, they're honestly not that great. Just to be honest, they're okay. There's some good ones. I think Joe Burrow is good, and I think Tua is okay. He's okay, not great, really okay. I know he put up a lot of great numbers in Alabama, but when Alabama played against elite defenses, he struggled against them. So I don't think Tua is the best thing since God was created or anything. I just don't feel that way about him. And then, of course, you have the injury history. You don't know how he's going to respond uh, coming back from that hip injury he had. And he has been known to get nicked up a little bit throughout his career. So I think if you're Washington, just draft Chase Young, build the team up. Do not worry about the quarterback. You have one there. If you're Ron Rivera, who entered his first year coaching this team after being with the Carolina Panthers for all those years, just it, just coach the guy you have. These coaches are always talking about how good they are and how they can coach up people. Well, you have a quarterback there, coach him up. Let's see what he can do. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is bad at all. He should be able to put some things together. He could get the good system in there, get some people around him to play well. The Redskins do have some weapons as long as they stay healthy. So I think if you're Washington, draft Chase Young, the defensive end out of Ohio State with the first pick. And now you're looking at a line that has Young, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, the two defensive tackles you drafted from Alabama years before. Ryan Kerrigan is still there as well. If you add Chase Young to that mix, you can have a very nasty defensive line that could be the foundation of not just the defense, but of the team as a whole. Just ask the San Francisco 49ers what you could do with a good defensive line. They were able to go to the Super Bowl on the strength of that defensive line for the most part, anyway, in terms of the strengths, and almost win it. So build the team. Don't worry about getting another quarterback. You already have one there. Let's build around them. Let's use the draft to actually stockpile some talent. I know they were talking about maybe they could trade down to get some more picks. No, look, get Chase Young and do what you can with the rest of the picks you already have. You will be fine. I don't think the Redskins have done a bad job of drafting players. They just haven't put it together on the field when they've gotten on there. So as long as they're able to coach them up, which I think Ron Rivera is an upgrade from anything they have had the last few years with Jay Gruden and then Bill Callahan finishing out last season, I think the Redskins can make some noise. They just have to be able to coach the people who are there, continue to build the team, and for the Redskins fans' sake, hopefully they can get a team on the field that they're proud of. For the last topic, we're talking about Spike Lee. So as you know, Spike Lee, I guess he basically got told he couldn't use this entrance. I don't necessarily know the particulars of this entrance in Madison Square Garden, but we all know Spike Lee is a super fan of the New York Knicks. And now I guess the Knicks staff was harassing him about what entrance he can come in there. He's been using the same entrance for 28 years or however long it's been. And honestly, to me, this is just a typical Nick story. It's a typical Nick story. They know how to butcher everything. No matter what it is, they know how to mess things up. On a night where they actually defeated the Houston Rockets, this is the story. What happened with Spike Lee? So now Spike Lee has said that he's going to boycott games or he's not going to support the Knicks for the rest of the year. And he's not going to any of their games. Okay. To me, more or less, this is just another situation of the Knicks trying to be relevant because they're not relevant. They haven't been relevant for years. They have been a losing organization. One playoff series win since 2000. And James Dolan, the owner, has completely run this team into the ground. And they're going to continue to get ran to the ground as long as he continues to be the owner of the team. So, unfortunately, for the Knicks players, for Knicks fans, for anybody associated with the Knicks, if you're looking for any type of success, you're not going to get it as long as James Dolan is the owner. This dude is buffoonery personified. He continuously blunders everything. He's a public relations disaster. And the sad thing about it is nobody can tell him anything because he's the owner of the team. So as long as he's the owner of the team, he's going to have this complex in his head, thinking he has every answer, he knows everything. You just can't tell him nothing. And when you have people like that in big time uh, head honcho positions, nothing is going to change. You can change the general manager, you can change the coach, you can change players. It's not going to matter because the atmosphere and the environment is the same because that's what James Dolan puts out. As long as he's there isn't going to be changes at all. So there's just a couple of franchises or a few franchises where you just feel like they just kind of do things and maybe mess with people uh, whatever it may be, but they just do things just to try to stay relevant because they're not doing anything on the field or on the court of play. Dallas Cowboys is one of them. They always have to win the public relations battle because that's where Jerry Jones thrives at. And the New York Knicks is another example of that, at least in my opinion. So this is another situation. The Knicks just blundered. They don't know how to treat their fans. They don't know how to treat people. You remember the relationship, or excuse me, the situation with Charles Oakley where he got kicked out of Madison Square Garden. And here's the same thing with Spike Lee. This is just another one of those situations where it's the Knicks being the Knicks. They're gonna mess things up no matter what the situation is, and it's because of their idiotic owner. So, with that being said, that is it for this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Everybody, you guys know what to do. Make sure you go on to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button. And also keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. You guys already know we are ready for any comments you have. Go ahead, leave the comments. Let us know how we're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. And we will be sure to get back to you guys as soon as possible. It said there are big things coming. We had our hashtag episode last week, and we are working on a lot of different things, even with our busy schedules. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys are following the pages to keep up with any announcements that may come. Uh, I have a few coming up later on, hopefully this week, maybe early next week. We'll see where things are, but just stay tuned. There's a lot of good stuff coming, and we appreciate the guys who have subscribed and who continue to, or who have hit the like button on the Facebook page as well. So, with that being said, everybody take care. Patrick will be here with his shorty later on this week, and hopefully we could get together for a webcast next week. So until those things happen, everybody take care. Have a good rest of the week.